Coach Teresa Ford here, and this is the Guiding You Home podcast. This is a thought-provoking and often humorous approach to moving you closer to the only one who can genuinely help you live a life of abundance and prosperity. Sound good? Yeah, it's you that needs to go within so you can sit in the driver's seat of your life, co-creating with God. So make room for more light and knowledge. As you continue to listen, you will discover elements of how to lead with your inner light, how to act on your specific promptings, and how to follow your spiritual intuition so you can fulfill the measure of your creation. Thanks for being here, and let's dive in. Well, hello. Today I would like to broach the topic of overwhelm. And I feel like this is the best place to start this podcast. So here we are on episode 2, and I titled it Learning to Walk Before You Can Run, Taking Baby Steps, right? Because honestly, we have this desire to really succeed in life. We really want to feel successful. We want to feel good about ourselves. And we have this expectation, unrealistic expectation, that we'll know how to do that before it happens. It's kind of like wanting to know how to do 6th grade math as you enter kindergarten. It's getting the cart way ahead of the horse to think that we should know how to do something before we know how to do something. And that's usually the overwhelm. If you walk into a room and it's a complete disaster, it can be overwhelming, but you have to start somewhere. I remember visiting my grandkids in Idaho, and their room was a complete disaster, and they were in overwhelm because they had marching orders to go get the room cleaned up. And they walked in the room, and it was such a disaster because they had had such a good time playing in it that they didn't even know where to start. They're like, okay, we picked up a sock, and that was it. So I was like, well, let's play a game. Let's play I Spy. So I would, because I didn't want to do for them what they were told to do for themselves, right? To learn how to clean up their room. So we made it a game. And sometimes if you play games with yourself, it's helpful. So I would say, I spy a red shoe. And, it was a game for them to find, one of them found one shoe and the other one found the other shoe. And then I spy all the little tiny green square Legos. And they would searching the room, because I'm telling you, if a bomb had gone off under the Lego bench, this was exactly the explosion in the room. I mean, nothing else could have caused that. So it was a massive search, and they just had so much fun. They were giggling and laughing and finding all of the things that I could find on the floor. Next thing you knew, the room was completely clean. And they're like, well, Grammy, what are we going to do now? I'm like, well, I guess we need to go find a different game because, that we cleaned it up. That was reducing overwhelm from a child's perspective even. So it's not just adults that get overwhelmed. Like when we first become parents, we're like, oh, I got this human being in my life, and then it's my job to make sure they don't die. Like, I got to make sure that they're fed and watered and changed and everything that they need. And it can be overwhelming because you're also thinking, well, I want the sleep that I used to get. And if you're not getting that sleep, then you're like, oh my gosh, life is so hard now. And I don't know what I'm doing. And maybe it's a struggle. Like when I had my first baby, I'd never even held a baby before. So she's lucky she didn't die. Like she's a true survivor because I hardly even knew how to wrap a blanket around her without it falling off. So, and it was overwhelming for me, but eventually I got up to speed, right? It took having a baby for me to get up to speed. And sometimes we want to know ahead of the event what it's going to be like. How's it going to look? How's it going to feel? How am I going to handle it? But oftentimes you don't know until the event is upon you. I didn't have to change diapers until I had someone to diaper. So we have to be patient with this thing that we do about needing to know ahead of time what's going to happen before it ever happens. When we're in kindergarten, there's this excitement. It's like I get to go to school for the first time, like all the big kids. It's going to be so much fun. We weren't worried about, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to carry the cartons of milk to everyone's table without spilling them, or whatever they do in kindergarten these days. That just tells you how old I am. We used to even take naps in kindergarten. Not anymore. But we didn't worry about it back then. In fact, let's just take babies in general. Let's just watch the process babies go through as we talk about it. When a baby is born, they're completely helpless, except for their innate ability to grip and suck. That's it. That's all they got. And the rest is up to us to help them out. Are they worried that they're not going to succeed in life, that they can't get it done, that they're going to be enough? Are they worried? Absolutely not. They're just eating and sleeping and pooping. That's it. So then pretty soon they're awake a little longer. Now we're smiling. Now we're rolling over. Now we're getting up on our hands and knees, rocking back and forth. And now we're crawling. And now we're climbing up and pulling ourselves up on furniture. And now we're walking. And now we're standing and balancing as we take another step. And we're trying to run. And there's an entire succession of events that have to happen. And guess what? Every baby goes through the exact same process, and not one of them is worried. They're not worried about whether they'll be able to balance without falling down, if they'll be able to take a step and walk across the floor to get what they're after. They don't worry about the toddler next to them who learned how to walk a month before they did. They're not comparing themselves to other people, which is another form of overwhelm. They're just being curious, happy little humans. What if we were to be more like a baby? What if we were just to take this one little step at a time? What if we were to enjoy the steps we're currently taking? What if we were to just take it easy, relax, and let it be, and just realize that when it's time to do something, it's time to do something, or when it's time to complete something, it's time to complete something. Like, you can't get there faster than you could get there. So like a baby, all of a sudden, one day rolls over. Like it just happens to be on day 43 or 61. It just happens naturally. But a baby's not worried about it. So a baby isn't in overwhelm unless you teach it how to be in overwhelm. So sometimes if we've been taught to be in overwhelm, and parents are demanding that you get something done before you know how to do it, and it's frustrating, you're in overwhelm, we learn to freak out. We learn to stall. We learn to procrastinate. We learn to avoid. We learn to check out. But those are normal responses if you think you're supposed to know how to do something before you know how to do something. Does that make sense? Excuse me. So baby steps are so important, because there is a natural progression to your life. There is a natural progression for you to figure out who you are and what you want. There's a natural progression. I didn't actually get sick and tired of being sick and tired until I was 46. Like, there was a very natural progression that I had to get to the rock bottom of my health crashing, which will be a totally different podcast or episode. But my health completely crashed, and it made me question what is happening. Turns out that I had lived with something far too long. I had not taken full responsibility for my happiness just yet. And I was dying. Like, my body was completely shutting down because I had allowed myself to be in an overwhelming situation way too long without healthy boundaries. But the good news is, when you get to that place, there's no place to go but up. Like, you just got your running legs. So the natural progression for me was to figure it out, to finally stop tolerating what I was tolerating and figure it out so I could be out of overwhelm and I could find a new path and on my way to happiness, right? So think about your life. Think about the things that overwhelm you. Some people get overwhelmed just because the sun came up and now they got to start their day and they already feel like they're 10 steps behind. Mostly because they stayed up too late the night before, didn't actually get the rest that they needed, and now they're late for work, or they're late getting started. Everybody is up before them, and you're just running for the rest of the day to keep up. That is overwhelm. Not wanting to do something that you have to do is overwhelm. Resisting wanting to do something, that's another episode. But we're going to throw it in here at the very beginning, because when you're learning how to find your true self-worth, when you're really learning how to see yourself as your higher source sees you, when you're really learning how to know yourself like you've never known yourself before, like connect all the dots and go after the things that you want in life, you got to start small. You have to take it a day at a time. You have to take all these thoughts that are running through your head that are way, way, way too busy, too noisy, and way ahead of knowing what you need to know before you know it. And just take things at face value. Start here, now, right where you are. I remember a time when I hated going to the grocery store. Just hated it. I had 5 kids and I would procrastinate and put it off and procrastinate and put it off. And I just didn't want to deal with it because it was so overwhelming to me, because I expected to get more done in less time. I expected to go to the store with 5 kids and get it done in 30 minutes. It just wasn't going to happen. First of all, have you ever shopped for a family of 7? Like, you need like 3 carts. It's not going to happen in 30 minutes, right? But I had this expectation that I was going to get more done in less time. That is the definition of overwhelm. Expecting more without allowing appropriate time and space. So, when the thing I did that helped me stop all the chitter chatter about you're not getting it done fast enough, the kids aren't cooperating, it's taking too long, and all the chitter chatter that was going on in my head, the thing that stopped all of that was me deciding that I was going to allow an extra half an hour just to get buckled up in the car and get to the store, and an extra half an hour after just to get buckled back up in the car and get home and unload the groceries. And I increased the middle time to an hour. So I gave myself 2 hours, not 30 minutes, 2 hours to just take our time. Get in the car, buckle 5 seatbelts, have good conversation, praise everyone for doing a good job of getting their seatbelts on and without fighting about where they were going to sit, and going to the store and being such good helpers and buying the groceries. And same thing on the way home, and everybody helped take a light sack into the house to, help deliver the groceries to the kitchen. It reduced the stress by 100. If my stress was at 150, I was down to 50, and it made all the difference in my connection and my interaction with my kids, the people that I profess to love the most, right? And so think about the times and the places in your life when you get overwhelmed. If you're just like an obsessive thinker and you're just thinking, and going down a rabbit hole, stop. Back it up. If there's one idea you want to go look up that one idea. Do not let it consume your life. Don't try and know everything that it takes a lifetime of study to understand and expect to know it in a minute just because you got to, open up Wikipedia. Just relax. You are not in a hurry. There is plenty of time. You will figure things out as you need to figure them out. When you entered second grade, it's because you passed first grade. But you didn't jump to fourth grade out of first grade. You did what you needed to do, and at the end of first grade, you knew more than when you entered at the beginning of first grade. And when you entered second grade, you didn't know anything about the entire curriculum that would be delivered to you until the end of second grade. So it's really key for us to each understand that the overwhelm that we feel in our lives is created by our very busy brains, whom I like to refer to as Controlzilla. As she is busy spreading rumors and spreading shame and causing you to feel guilty and causing you to crash during the day and procrastinate everything. Like Controlzilla is telling you you're not enough and you don't know enough and you didn't do enough and you're a day late and $1 short. So just put her down for a nap. She's not helping. And focus on the things that you know you can do here and now. Start there and go easy on yourself. Like, give yourself a break because it's going to be okay. Remember, anything that used to be a problem is no longer a problem. You figured it out. This too, you will figure out. Whatever is causing you overwhelm here and now, baby steps. Take a break, get a snack, take a nap, and you're going to be okay. Okay? Okay. Thanks for listening. I invite you to leave your feedback and share your aha moments as you listen to this podcast. Also, you can access more information or any of the programs, courses, or worksheets that I've mentioned on these episodes on my website at teresaford.life. Or what I would really love is for you to connect with me on Instagram at teresaford.coaching and on Facebook at Coaching with Teresa Ford, so I can give you more interesting insights and further coaching to help you fulfill the measure of your creation.